What's up, guys, and welcome back to 8 Count. So today, guys, is fight week, and we've got Conor Benn vs Chris Van Heerden coming up on Saturday, and in Manchester. So let's get straight into it. So obviously with Conor Benn, after his devastating win against Chris Algieri, knocking him out, Chris Van Heerden has come up as his next opponent, obviously this week. So I know there's been a lot of sort of speculations and a lot of sort of doubt around his opponent Chris Van Heerden and who is he. A lot of people don't really know him in the British public sort of sphere, and I thought I'd just shed some light on that as well. I think that was Chris Van Heerden. He was probably known. I don't know if you guys remember when he fought Conor McGregor. Well, he didn't fight Conor McGregor. He sparred Conor McGregor, and a leaked sort of sparring clip came out where a lot of people, you should guys go watch. I think it's on YouTube, where they thought he got the best of Conor McGregor, and he's sort of known for that. I think he lost to Errol Spence in 2015, and I think he's got 2 losses, and he's quite I wouldn't say he's 28 wins and 2 losses basically, and 1 draw or 1 no contest, I believe. But it's one of those things where how do you sell this fight especially for Eddie Hearn sort of thing, and especially with Conor Benn, he's got the momentum behind him and he wants bigger names. But one of the actually problems that happened with after the Conor Benn win against Algeria, what happens is that when you beat someone so in a devastating fashion, it gets harder for people to make fights, especially in this day and age, because obviously he was shouting out Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner is having some personal life issues, and he's still yet to get back in the gym. He wanted to go Danny Garcia, but Garcia apparently wants to move up and probably fight the Charlo brothers, I believe. Then obviously, Furman, he had a fight with Barrios. I don't think Furman really wants anything to do with Conor Benn right now. And obviously, Khan is Brook the winner, but obviously Brook's probably going to be fighting Chris Eubank soon, Jr. So it gets harder for fights to be made. And obviously with that caliber, you want to have the most exposure with himself. I know a lot of people saying, Conor Benn's just going to run through him, and that might be the case. Don't get me wrong, he might just go and just blitz him. But one big factor I feel like a lot of people are not seeing is the fact that Chris Van Heerden is a southpaw. Now, Conor Benn has not faced any southpaw yet. Now, I feel like this is a really great and evidential, a learning fight for him to fight a southpaw, because southpaws, they're slick, look at throughout the history, especially in the welterweight division, Manny Pacquiao, Terence Crawford, switch hitter, Zab Judah, southpaws are always tricky. They're much more difficult opponent, a much more difficult opponent to get sparring for, because when you're a lefty, the distance, everything changes. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where you have to literally train a different type of way to be a southpaw. And it's easier for southpaws to be orthodox fight, because there's a lot of them. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot of them out there, and it's not much harder to get sparring ready for that sense. But I feel if he does beat him, it'll be a good fight, because look, you have a devastating puncher in Terence Crawford, which is a switch hitter, and he can be southpaw and anyone, and if you have the winner of Errol Spence vs Ugas, and even Conor Benn shouting him out for. So these are killers, and these are those elite fighters. But if he beats them in a devastating fashion, then obviously it's going to create waves around the boxing world, especially the welterweight division. I think the one key factor is not the power. I don't think it would be much of the power, because we know Conor Benn has power. I feel like it would be the footwork and the placement. I feel like I would like to see more of Conor Benn's just boxing IQ in this, slipping, moving to the left, straight right hands, going to the body, and just systematically breaking them down rather than just going full throttle, 100 miles per hour. I think sometimes Conor Benn reminds me of a Lemieux, David Lemieux, if you guys remember, every power pop. It was a vicious bombs coming from every And when you got like a tricky southpaw against like Saunders where he had to fight, you know, it just negated that. So if he can be a bit on his toes, you know, back and forth, you know, and I think he has that. He's still young, he's still light on his feet, and he can actually capitalize on that. With Chris Van Heerden, is one of those fights where he's got nothing to lose. You know, he's come in from South Africa. He is a seasoned southpaw. You know, if you go to his record, I think he was supposed to fight like last fight was Gerard Ennis, and like, I think it was a no contest because of a head clash. But he can fight. He's not like a don't get me wrong, like a cab driver that they just picked up from the road or something. He can fight, and he is a good sort of gateway test. I think Eddie Hearn just recently came out saying like this will be the last sort of medical fight for Conor Benn, because after this you have the big dogs. You have Danny Garcia if he's still down here. You have Mikey Garcia. You have the 147 division packed open. You have maybe the return of Josh Kelly, Avanesian. So there's so many fights to be made for, but it's one of those things where you have to like. He's still 20-0 and he's still progressing as a fighter, but you don't want to be putting him in with someone who he's never seen before, if that makes sense. So yeah, I believe I'm gonna give probably my prediction, and I think Algieri stops him late. I think between rounds of 6 to 9. I might be totally wrong here, but I think Algieri stops him late. I think he breaks him down. I think he does get surprised. He gets surprised for a few shots coming in. He will get hit. I think Algieri would get Conor Benn would get hit, but I think Conor Benn stops Chris Van Heerden late between rounds 5 to 8, I would say, and that opens up. Hopefully, we see him next against someone big, and then again, if I feel like for Van Heerden to win, Chris Van Heerden, he just has to box he has to box his balls off basically. He has to keep it on the jab, move to the left, move to the right, be that slick southpaw, that Zab Judah in his prime. You just couldn't hit him. You just couldn't nail a punch with him. But is that going to happen? We'll have to see, But yeah, if you like the video, please like and subscribe.